through and show you what to do for our flipped Shape-Scape. So what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm going to take one of my images. I'm going to hit the space bar. When I click on my image and hit the space bar, it'll give me like a quick preview. It'll just pop up and I can close it. If I just hit the space bar, they'll pop up. Just a little trick for you. So I'll go with this one. I'll go with winter, and I can just drag it right in here to Photoshop and it should launch automatically. If it doesn't, you can always drag it to the icon, but I'm guessing that little spinning beach ball means that it's going to open okay. So I'm going to hit that and it'll open up in a second. And when it opens, I'm going to move. There we go. There, it's all gone anyway. All right, let me make sure I have everything I need. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. And the first thing I'm going to do once I have my image open is I need to make sure my layers is open. This layers menu over here is very important. I got to make sure that's open. It is. And what I'm going to do is make a copy or a duplicate of it. I'm going to hit Command J, or if you don't hit Command J, you can drag the background down to this little plus icon, and that does the same thing. Just makes a copy of the background. We need to have two of them. So we have our background, which is going to stay put, and then we need the copy over top of it. Our next step is that we are going to choose a shape, and over from our toolbar on the left, near the bottom, you're going to see either the rectangle, ellipse, or triangle, or any of these. Don't use custom shape. It's goofy, and line's not going to work either, but you can use any of these here. So let's pick triangle tool, just for the heck of it. Any of those would be okay. And I'm just going to click and drag with it to create my triangle, and it's going to auto-fill with whatever color that you have. Right now it's white. It won't matter what color it'll end up being. If we're on our move tool and we have this button checked that show transform controls, you're going to be able to resize it, move it around, and rotate, which we're going to need to see in a little bit. Is if you move your mouse right outside the box, your mouse is going to turn into that little arch, and then you can start rotating from there. And hit Command Z to undo, go back where I was. I think this is going to be pretty good right here. It's a good spot. So I'm going to end up with this, and then I'm going to need to look at my layers again over here, and you'll see that I have this triangle and two backgrounds. So what I want to do, and this is new, we haven't done this yet, is on the keyboard I'm going to hold down the Command button. So let's hold Command, and I want to click right on my triangle icon on these layers. So watch where I am, watch where my mouse is. Click Command, click right here. And what that's going to do is it's automatically going to select the area where my triangle is. Now what I'm going to do is turn it off. So I'm going to go back to my layers, turn off with the eyeball, and you can see now I have this selection of an empty triangle. I don't really need this layer anymore. That's why I turned it off. I don't need it, because what we're going to do is take this selection that we already have and click on our copy of the background. Or maybe it might even say image one. It'll say one thing or the other, whatever the copy is. And then we're going to hit the mask button. So in order to mask, there's a couple ways we can do it. We can hit it right here on the toolbar, and that'll make a mask. Or if we are on, make sure that we're on the right layer and we move down and we hit this mask button, does the same thing. Now we need to check and make sure if we did it right or not. If I turn off my background now, okay, good. I did that right. I have that masked in a triangle. You can see over here, we've talked about masks already. You can see that that worked properly. So now we can turn our background back on. And what I can do, it doesn't matter if you have the background on or off. Honestly, I'll turn it off. It's easier to see. Make sure I'm on my move tool. And in the upper corner, you're going to see these little white little squares in the corner here. And if I move my mouse right outside of the squares, you're going to see the mouse changes. So it either becomes kind of like a navigation sign, or if I move it and it becomes the arch, it's going to let me spin it. And if I hold shift down, it'll lock it right into even increments. Okay, I'm moving my mouse around. It's kind of disappearing off the screen, but I'm going to hit Command 0. And I can always move this around later, but now I have it rotated. I'm going to guess that's the center. Let's find out. Turn it back on. Cool. I like that. Now from here, you can even resize it again if you want. So I can shrink it down and I can match it up right along the horizon line if I want. But I'm going to make it a little bigger and kind of do this. This is what I like. This is going to make for a nice composition here. You can crop a little bit more if you want. If you want to use the crop tool and you want to crop in and change it a little bit, you can always do that and crop if you like. Then you hit done when you're done. And our last step, I'm going to go to my move tool, make sure that I am on the correct layer. By the way, this triangle layer from before, we don't even need this. You can delete it or just leave it turned off. It doesn't matter anymore. Now what we're going to do is put a drop shadow on top of our shape. So make sure you're on the copy, the one with the mask, and go over to your layer. And there's two ways we can get to our drop shadow. You can either click in the blue area, not on the words. If you click on the words, it's going to let you change them like this. But if you click in the blue area above or below and double click on it, it's going to launch this layer style box. The other way to do it is to click on it and go down here to FX for special effects, and I can go to drop shadow from here. Now the problem is it always covers up your image when layer styles pop up, and that's kind of annoying. So if I move it over and move it over in a corner, we can still see our image and see what we're trying to do. Make sure you click on, if you didn't already, make sure drop shadow is clicked and that you've clicked on the word drop shadow, because sometimes you could select something like outer glow, for example, and I'm still looking at the drop shadow menu, but you have to make sure you click on the word drop shadow to highlight it. So now I'm highlighted, it's checked, and we can look at our different options here. But the first thing I like to do is I like to go and over to my drop shadow and move it. So you can move it around by hand. I'm just clicking and moving in that shadow a little bit. I'm just going to drop it down a little like this. Then we have some different options of how we can customize it. Size, I always do first, and that the size is going to like soften that edge. You can see it's a little softer. If I go this way, it's nice hard edge, but if I pull size up, it softens it a little bit. And if you want it darker, we go to opacity. Opacity, if it's 100% opaque, it's solid. If it's 0, you can't see it. So find that mix. Use opacity, use size, and then if you want to go back in and move it around, you can, like that. I like that. I'm going to hit OK. And then this, if I hand this in right now, this is a PSD. I don't want that. So I want to go to File, Save. You can save it regular right now if you want to. And it can ask you if you want it on the cloud, but we don't need to do that. In order to hand it in, you just do this. File, Export, Quick Export as PNG. And I'm going to call it, I can call it Flip or I can call it Shape. And then you're going to put your name right here. And I'll have it go, yeah, my downloads is fine. That's where it's going to go. Save it there. So that's the first one. Now you have to do a total of 3. So at this point, if you want to rewatch this video, you can. So rewatch and continue, and you can follow along with the video and do 3 of them and hand in 3 of your flipped Shape-Scape. Cool. Hope you liked it.